My name is Ileana. Welcome to our Cricut class. I'm so excited to see everyone. I'm a library assistant here at Seguin Public Library, and I'm also our resident Cricketer. I've been using the Cricut machine both in my personal and work life for several years now, and it's a tool I've really grown to love. To be honest, am not really a crafty person before the Cricut, but after the Cricut, it has really helped me express my creative side. And I hope by the end of the class, y'all be more inspired to kind of express this creative side too. Just to get an idea, if I could have you raise your hand if you already have a Cricut machine at home. All right. And then from you who have your hands raised, how many of you are somewhat familiar with how it works or have done some projects? That's okay. That's what we're here for today. This is a beginner level class. We're going to go over the very basics of the Cricut machine and talk about a little bit about what the machine is, its capabilities, the differences between machines, and then of course we're going to do a little project. We will have a Q&A session towards the end, so if you have any questions, just jot them down and then we'll open the floor at that time. All right, so our agenda, we're going to talk about what is a Cricut, types of Cricut cutting devices, materials and tools, installing design space. We're going to do a project, the Q&A, and then the super fun part, a do-it-yourself section. We're actually going to have you make your very own tote bag with the Seguin Public Library logo. Yeah, super exciting. Okay. All right, so I'm going to have this video playing behind me. This is from Cricut themselves. So what is a Cricut? Cricut defines it as smart cutting machines that work with an easy-to-use app to help you design and personalize almost anything, which you're seeing them do here. You can make all kinds of different cards, t-shirts, glasses, super fun things. So I'll let that play for a second. You can obviously make things for yourself. My favorite thing to do with the Cricut is to make gifts, and then you can also sell things that you make. The crafting possibilities are really endless with the machine. All right. This one's super cute. She's gonna make like a little thing for her baby's cradle. Super cute. It's a paper craft. All right, so here are some of the Cricut machines currently sold. We can divide them into three sections: the Cricut Explorers, the Cricut Makers, and the Cricut Joy. The Cricut Explorers and Makers are about the same size. They're all about 24 inches in length, this size right here. They can cut up to 12 inches, which is up to this bar here. So that's how wide your material can be. And then the Cricut Joy, we do not have one here, but it's definitely a more compact machine. So for the casual crafter, this can be pretty nice. It can cut up to 8.5 inches, and it's only 12 inches in diameter. Max cut length, that's going to talk about how long your materials can be. So your Explorer Air 2, your Maker can do up to 1.9 feet. This is because they do require a sticky mat to be used. Let me get one here for you. Oops, sorry. Any materials you use have to be stuck onto this mat for those machines, and the max mats you can find for sale are going to be 24 inches, so about 2 feet. Other machines are the Cricut Maker 3, Explorer 3, and Cricut Joys. These work with smart materials, which do not require you to use a mat. They're super cool. You just put the materials straight into the Cricut. There's also this print then cut option. This means that you will print designs from your printer and then put them in the Cricut. Connectivity, all of the machines use Bluetooth, and then the Cricut Joy is the only one that does not have a USB, which is this cord here. So it can't connect directly from the computer to the Cricut. And then they all require you to use Design Space, which is the app. Some of you might have it downloaded to your computers, your phones, your tablets. All right, materials and tools. So these are some things you can use with the Cricut. We have them all set over here, so later on you can go look at all of the different materials you can use in the Cricut. So you can feel them, look at them, notice the differences. The first one we have here is paper and cardstock. Like you saw in the video, they're making super cool cards. You can make really intricate things with the paper. You can make gift tags, paper flowers, which is super fun. Shadow boxes, all kinds of different things. There's also adhesive vinyl, which you see in front of you. You have one there with you. This is like sticker-like material that you can stick to all kinds of different objects. This is going to be a take-home project for y'all, where you can practice weeding and then transferring it. But this is what that's going to look like. And then we have heat transfer vinyl, which is what is, I'm so sorry, I'm dropping everything. What is used on these bags here. It adheres to material, so fabric. So canvas, cotton, all kinds of different things. Then we have a weeding tool, this sharp little hook. You do have to be careful with it because it can be pretty pointy, but it is what helps you get your design out. So I'll quickly show you how you use it to hook, oops, and peel your vinyl so that you can see your design. It's kind of hard to do with one hand, but you can just peel it. That way you are just left with what you're trying to transfer. You also have a piece of transfer tape with you. This is what you use to transfer that vinyl. So how it works is once your design is peeled, you get this vinyl, you peel it off, put it on there, and then you get this scraper tool, super handy tool, to stick it onto your vinyl and scrape it on just in a, pretty lightly. You don't have to do it super hard, just to get it to stick to this. So then you peel the backing off, and now you're just left with the logo on your transfer tape, and then you're able to go put it onto whatever you're doing. So a journal, a mug, whatever. You get the same scraper tool and scrape it on, so then it just sticks to there. It's super easy to do, not hard at all, so y'all can have fun doing that at home later. Okay, so installing Design Space. If you have not done this, I'm going to quickly talk about it. Here, I'm going to click this guide for installing to different devices. It's going to take me to Cricut's website. This is a guide that will tell you how to download the Cricut app to your specific device. So it can be Windows, Mac, iOS, or Android. So like you can see, when I scroll through, it has a pretty detailed guide. You just, of course, select whichever device you're going to be using. It is a free app, so you do not have to worry about paying for it. However, I will warn you that there is a subscription in the Cricut itself. This will unlock things like extra fonts, pre-designed projects. It is a monthly subscription, but it does have some cool things on there. So it's up to you to decide. You can still use Design Space without it. Okay, so once you have it installed to your device, you're going to have to create an account. It's just a username, which is your email address, and your password. You create your own password. Definitely keep this somewhere safe because there are times when Design Space will log you out, and it can be a hassle to try and remember that password. So keep it somewhere handy because it does not always stay logged in, especially if it does updates overnight. So then once you have it installed, your account is created, you're logged in, you're going to have to connect your device. That is done so that Cricut knows what machine you will be using Design Space with. So if you're going to be using it with the USB cord, this cord gets plugged into the back of the Cricut, into your computer, and they communicate and connect like that. Or your Bluetooth needs to be turned on your iPad, phone, computer, and it'll communicate that way. It's super easy. Design Space does walk you through those steps also, so you don't have to be guessing. It'll tell you like, do this, then do this, then do this. Okay, let me turn to my notes here. We're gonna start our demonstration. The fun part, actually working in Design Space. I know some people are intimidated by the Cricut sometimes because of the technology aspect, but I promise it's really just practice. We're gonna start off with the very basic beginner level project. So if you do not know anything, this is a great place to start, okay? All right, so before heading into Design Space, it is a good idea to kind of know what you're trying to work on. If you found something on the internet, make sure you have that downloaded to a file that you can easily access. Like on this computer, I have a Cricut folder where I save things so that whenever I'm working in Design Space, I just open that folder and everything's right there. If you have the subscription, you can always, of course, look at these projects and go from there. All right. So I'm going to start this video. So in this video, we're beginning with Design Space logged in, and on the home page, you can see here all the different things that are available with that subscription, different projects. We're not using that today, so I'm going to click this green New Project button at the very top right corner. Okay, so this is what your canvas looks like. This is where you go in and edit your designs. There's lots of really cool features, but like I said, we're just going to do something very simple. We have our logo saved on our computer, and we're just going to upload that to edit it and then print it out. To do that, we're going to go over to this upload button over in the left toolbar. I'll eventually get there, and then we'll click it, and it's going to give us our options to upload our logo. There we go. So then I'm going to hit upload image, and now browse. So that's going to pull up my file explorer on my computer where I have my logo saved. It's also going to tell you what file types you can use. That's really important to pay attention to. So I go to my file called Cricut, hit open, select the file, hit open, and there we go. Now it's in the first step of uploading. Now we have to select our image type. You have 3 options: simple, moderately complex, and complex. I usually select complex because I find it to be the most accurate, but of course you can read those descriptions and decide for yourself. So you'll see me here select complex in just a second. There we go. Then you hit the continue button at the bottom. Now for Cricut, when you're making designs, you do have to have a transparent background. This means there can be nothing behind it so that the Cricut can read the details of what you're trying to make. So for this instance, we're trying to get rid of the white because we just wanted to see the logo. We just wanted to see the words and the shapes. So I'll hit this magic select button. It's super cool. Click it, click any white part on the design, and then it magically goes away. It read it all for me, and we now know it's transparent because it has a checkered background. It is important, I forgot to show in the video, but to zoom into these letters and click these spaces like in the P and the B, because it will leave those sometimes. And then another cool tool you can use here is erase. Say for instance, the select tool forgot to erase something that you wanted off. You can just swipe over it and it erases. To restore something that got deleted that you do need, you can just swipe it over and it brings it back. And then those top 2 arrows are the redo and undo buttons. All right, but now my design is ready for us to finish uploading, so I'm going to hit apply and continue at the bottom right corner. All right. So now we have to select our upload type. You have 2 options: cut image, then print then cut image. When a cut image is that it's just going to see what it shows on that. So it's just seeing the shapes and the letters. It's not seeing colors, it's not seeing any backgrounds, that's all it's seeing. For print then cut, this means we're going to send it to our printer. It's going to print out the logo as we see it with all the colors. It prints calibration marks, which the Cricut then reads whenever it gets put in. You just have to remember that the max size of that print then cut is 8.5 inches, which is a normal sheet of paper. So then we'll hit continue. Our image is uploaded, we'll select it, and then we'll hit add to canvas at the bottom right corner. 8.5 by 11, that's about your normal page size. All right, so now my logo is on the canvas. Here I'm showing that you can change the color of the logo. I'm gonna pause it really quickly right here. This can be done, like say for instance, you know exactly that you are going to print on a pink vinyl and you want to know exactly what's going to look like, so you can change the color. I just left mine on black for this project, but I just wanted to show y'all. But another important thing to know is this, in this operation tab, is where it says basic cut. That's its default because usually when you're using the Cricut, you are cutting things. However, there are other options. So if you're going to draw something, use the foil tool, a perforation tool, any of those things, you have to click there. You'll have a drop down and then select what you're going to be doing for that project. I'm going to hit play again. Here I am showing the colors. There we go. Now for this project, like I said, very basic. The only thing we're going to do from here is change our size. I pre-measured how big I wanted the design to be based on the bag that I have. So what I did was in this size section here, In the width, I entered 8.5 because that's how big I wanted it to be. I hit enter and it automatically adjusted everything for me. Because that lock tool is on right there, that means it's going to make it proportionate so the height and width are connected. It doesn't get uneven. But say for instance, I did want it to be taller, but I wanted the width to stay the same. I would click that lock button, unlocks it, and I now have the option to mess with those dimensions without worrying about it telling me I can't do something. Okay, so we're going to hit play from here. So now that our size is done, we are ready to make our project. That's going to be done in this green button up at the top right corner. It says make. You'll see me click that in just a second. Eventually, I'll get there. There we go. Once I click it, I'm going to be prompted to save the project. So I'll hit save, and then I'm going to name it. This is so just in case I want to make this project again, I don't have to go and make all my edits again. It's going to be saved in my Cricut account, and I can just go find it and start from there. So I'll hit. And now's the fun part. I'm going to start printing it. So your options here are material load type. It's going to default to on mat unless you have a machine that uses the smart materials. Remember, those are the materials that do not have to go on a mat. They just go directly here. In that case, you would select that drop down and select smart materials. Material size is going to refer to the mat you're using. For this one, we're just using a 12 by 12, so I'm going to leave it there, but you have different options. Up here in project copies, say you needed to make multiple copies of something, you would enter how many you need, hit apply, and the Cricut will put them on the mat for you. That's super handy if you're making like a lot of something like we were for this class. For this sake, I'm just going to enter it back to 1, hit apply. All right, and then the number one thing I want to tell you about when you're using heat press vinyl, which we're going to be using today, is that you have to make sure that mirror button is turned on. If it is turned off, it's going to print your image backwards so that when you go to lay it on your bag, it's not going to be facing the right direction. It's going to be completely backwards. So anytime you're using heat press vinyl, you want to make sure that that mirror button is on. For other things, it's not required, but for this, it is definitely required. It's my number one tip because I have wasted plenty of material by not selecting that button, and that's never fun. All right, so now that that's done, we're going to hit continue. How it looks on your mat is how it's going to look. That's how it's going to actually cut. So if you needed to move it around, you can just drag it and move it around. So here it's connecting to my machine. For this device, I do connect it through the cord. If it's Bluetooth, it will connect via Bluetooth. Now we'll select our material. You can bookmark things you use most often, which I'm showing here. The one I'm using today is not bookmarked here, so I'm going to hit Browse on Materials. And then you can search if you know the name. For this instance, I didn't know the exact name it was called, so I'm going to scroll through all the options, find where it says iron-on, because they're divided into categories. Once I'm there, I'm going to look for heat transfer non-Cricut. I know I'm not using Cricut heat transfer because the ones we have here are not Cricut, but whatever vinyl you're using, it's going to say on your packaging, so be sure to read that because there's all kinds of different ones you can use, as you can see from this list. And it's really important to click the correct one so it knows how to cut or how much pressure to put. So here you'll see me click heat transfer. And then you see that little bookmark icon. That's how you can bookmark it to be saved on that first screen, so you don't have to go through all this. Once I hit done, it's going to tell me make sure mirror is turned on, because that is a super important part. It does remind you. We know it's on because it says it right here, and that your material is facing shiny side down. Let me show y'all what that means really quickly. If this was heat transfer vinyl, this would be my shiny side, this would be my non-shiny side, the backing. When you put it on the mat, it has to go this way, the shiny side face down, so that it cuts it, and then when you pull it off, it's facing the correct direction. So that's a really important step too. It's making sure you have it cutting with the shiny side down, the glossy side down, which when you go look at that table over there, you'll be able to tell better what it means by that. Okay, so then the pressure, I usually leave it on default, but you do have two other options. You can select less or more. If I notice my blade is ripping things, I will select blade. If I notice it's not going all the way through, I will select more. But for this, we're just gonna leave it on default. All right. And then we're gonna load our materials. So on the Cricut, when it's getting ready for this part, this button that is pressing or facing up and down starts flashing at you. So what that means is you then get your mat that has your sticker, your vinyl on it. You put it through here, into these hooks, under the bar, select this, and it goes, and it pulls it in so that it's now ready to start cutting. Once we have that, this C button here is going to start flashing. We'll click that, it's going to calibrate and start cutting. So here it's calibrating, and then you're going to see it start showing the progression, which it tells you how fast it's going. I can show y'all this later on. I don't have it on right now because it is kind of loud and we're recording for sake, so it will be, the microphone will pick it up, but I can show y'all later what it looks like. All right, so it's gonna keep going. Once it gets to 100%, it's gonna tell you to unload your mat. All that means is you have to press this arrow one more time. It does that sound again, and then you're able to take your mat and you're all done with the project. So I'm gonna wait to stop the video until I'll see what that looks like. Okay, it should be done soon. All right, so then it said unload mat. You hit done at the corner and you're all good. If you wanted to make more, you keep doing the same thing, loading your vinyl, hitting the buttons, go from there. Or if you're done, you just hit done and you're all good with the project. All right, so that was a quick little demonstration. So we're gonna go ahead and head into our Q&A. I'm sure y'all have some questions. So I'm gonna go ahead and open the floor. If you have anything to ask, just raise your hand and I'll answer the best I can. Anything? Yeah.
So if I were to get like an iPad, I can Procreate, you can draw your own designs.
Yeah, for sure.
I can do that and connect it to the Cricut kind of.
So how it will work if you're using like Procreate, Canva, Adobe, anything, you edit the design how you want, then you download it to the device, and then you'll have to upload it through the Cricut software. How I did that at the very beginning, I hit that upload button and selected it from my computer. You just want to make sure it's saved as a file type that is compatible with the Cricut, which it shows you in that upload section, those file types. It's like very specific, but any JPEGs, GIFs, PNGs, those common things, it's good. SVGs are really popular for the Cricut. It can work with those. What is the It's called Design Space. If you use a phone or a tablet, you'll go to the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store and type in Cricut Design Space, and you can download it from there. If you're using a laptop, you'll have to go to the Cricut website and install it to your computer from there. If you notice at the end of your packets, I have an additional resource page. All of these links are spelled out there so you can visit all of these websites, and I try to name them as best as I can. So some of the things I mentioned throughout the presentation, you can go and look for yourself. The thing to know with the Cricut is that it does require a lot of research, to start things. And there is a lot of online material for us to check out. So on there, I also put some of my favorite people to watch on YouTube or check out their websites. Jennifer Maker is a really big one. If you've been using Cricut, you've probably heard about her, but there's a couple others I put there for you to visit also. Any other questions? Uh-huh. Yeah, I can show you. Yeah, I'll show you really quickly. You hear that? That's the stickiness of it. You just stick it on and that's it. There is different kinds of mats, some that have lighter grip. There's like a fabric mat if you're going to be cutting fabric. So anyone who likes to sew or quilt, that is a super cool thing you can do with the Cricut, is cut fabric to kind of save you that extra step. Yeah, if they get messy, you don't have to buy a new one every time. All right, we have time for one more question. That in Design Space, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. I can show you that one-on-one in a second. There's a section at the top of the toolbar. There is a thing where it has a drop-down menu that says fonts, and you can select from there, but I can show you on your computer later on. All right. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our DIY time, where you get to heat press your own bag. This is what they're going to look like. Here's my example bag. We're going to do those in the back, so we'll go at a table at a time, and I can walk you through those steps. Yeah. All right, so thank you for attending our Cricut class. It was super nice to see everyone. I hope y'all learned something from the class.